I write a few notes here and then we jump into the questions one time. Quadratic functions. Make it pop right and red if you can, right? This is important stuff. A quadratic function. Try to write same speed I'm writing so I would not have to wait for you all, okay? A quadratic function. Nobody to think this is our own. Right, so a quadratic function is a type of function that can be written in the form f of x is equal to ax squared, that L vector, ax squared plus bx plus c. Right, this is your quadratic function. Right, where A, B, and C are real numbers. All right. A is also never equal to 0. And x is the variable. Right? Right? Everybody should have that. All right. This was the first note here, right? There's a little dash here. The second note would be the highest or lowest point So I've given you all everything there is to know about these quadratic functions, and then we'll jump into it, right? On the graph is called the vertex, which is basically like a maximum or minimum point, right? Or minimum point. Right?
Excuse me, sir. Can you scroll up a little bit, please?
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Then we have the graph is symmetric and the vertical line well, we can say cutting the graph in two. Cutting the graph in two is called the axis of symmetry. Right? The y-intercept is C, and the x-intercepts are the roots, right? Or the values of x when f of x is equal to 0. All right, I don't like how to squeeze that there. Let me set them down. All right, delete. Oh. When f of x is equal to 0, right? So these roots, these values of x, which are your roots, can be found by factorizing or factorization or factor. Finance cannot be written too closely. Same thing I'll go back. Can be found by factorization, completing the square, or quadratic or the quadratic formula. All right. Right. So factorizing a quadratic is something we would have done when we did algebra, but I'll still probably have to walk you all through it when we encounter a question, right? So we'll just look at completing the square. So completing the square means to write a quadratic which is ax squared plus bx plus c in the form a open brackets x plus h close brackets squared plus k, right? So they have two ways to complete this square, right? You could do a working or you could just, yeah. I will go back through all this when I finish writing it. So as I said, there are two ways to complete the square, but we would do it using the formulas, right? So you'll have h is equal to b over 2a. Right. So h is equal to b over 2a, right? And k will be equal to 4ac minus b squared over 4e, right? Everybody good here? I'll go back through all of this, right? Right, so that's completed in square. So we'll also write the quadratic formula. Quadratic formula is, well, 4, that is to solve a quadratic ax squared plus bx plus c is given by x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac Don't have it too. Well, if you're calling me back, well, cool. Try to comment with long pants when they comment here because you realize the AC go between here now. They go between here and it's in direct on your foot. Right. All over 2e, right? This is your quadratic formula, right? One more thing on the right here. The coordinates, I shall write it above, coordinates of the maximum or minimum point is given by negative h comma key, right? Now I want to scroll back up. Where you all need to write from? All here good? All right. I'll come back right online. I want to use it on pause. Right. So a quadratic function is a type of function that can be written in the form f of x is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. Now, I want you to raise your hand if you never saw like a quadratic before. If this is the first time you see this ax squared Empress, Soraya, all in now seeing ax squared, well, I can understand that. Ax squared plus bx plus c, that's a quadratic. And we used to factorize it. We had to multiply the a by the c and then factorize it. Everybody should have seen the quadratic already, right? Which is this part of it here. Okay? So we're going to learn about it now again if you didn't know it, right? So a, b, and c are real numbers. A can never be equal to 0. X is the variable, right? Or the unknown. Now the highest or lowest point on the graph, so we're going to draw some parabolas, right? Well, the curves. We're going to draw some quadratic curves. Now, if your curve is like a mountain, where you think the highest point will be, your maximum or your minimum point? Common sense. Maximum, right? And if it's a U, your lowest point at the bottom would be a... We're going to look at all these things now, eh? So the graph is symmetric, meaning that you can cut it in exactly in two. Cool? Right. The vertical line cutting the graph in two is called the axis of symmetry, right? The y-intercept is C. Whatever C is, that is where your curve is cutting your y-axis, right, Daryl? Lock in here, Daryl, right? Where your curve is cutting the y-axis, that is your y-intercept. Now, your x-intercept will be where your curve is cutting your x-axis. So if your curve is like a U or like a N, and how much points you think the curve will be cutting the x-axis, right? If it's like a U, so, all right, that's what I'm going to give you all a visual, right? Right. So basically, this is what I mean when I'm seeing it, if it's a U or if it's a V. Right. So you have your y-axis, right? Okay. And then you have your x-axis. Okay. So this is y-axis, this is x-axis, right? Now, if I have a U like this, like say a U coming, so boom, bang, right? Which is a minimum curve. How much times is this line cutting through the x-axis? At how many points is that curve cutting through the x-axis? Twice. So you will always have two x-intercepts, right? So here and here, see, this is the x-axis. These will be your x-intercepts, right? And how many times is that curve cutting the y-axis? Once. You all seen that? So this here will be your y-intercept. We go and write this there. Intercept, which is also C, right? C is your y-intercept. We have ax squared plus bx plus c. C would always be a y-intercept, right? Points of note. Points to note. When A is greater than 0, this means that our curve is a minimum. Right? This symbol means greater than. Everybody knows that? Greater than. You know that, Daryl? This symbol, if it's going this way, is greater than, right? Greater than. If it's going the next way, it will be what? If it's shaped like a L, less than, right? So that's the minimum curve there. Right? Let me draw a maximum curve for you all to get a visual on it, right? So if I draw my curve, well, my y-axis, now I'm taking it for granted that you all know what the x-axis and y-axis are. Have you all ever done, anybody never did graphs here? Never draw a y-axis and an x-axis? Raise your hand, please. Never draw x-axis or y-axis? Woo!
Then like how to cut, but like not to actually draw it.
Serious. Raise your hand online. Taylor, you never did it. Dan, you never do a graph?
No, sir.
Pro. and sis, bros and sis. This is crazy for Form 4 children, and some Form 3 children. Form 3 and Form 4 children, this is crazy that we never saw graphs. But that's nothing. Oh, I didn't know how much work we had to do, right? I just got a headache when I think about how much work we had to do, you know. I just like I'm Raheem right now. So I just said the U is the minimum curve. Now the mountain would be your maximum. You see that there, Alex?
Yes, sir.
Fine, I ain't complete that good, but I didn't finish strong, boy. And by Ryan, boy, I ain't find I finished strong at all. Hey, boy. Let me join back the people line. Right. Curve. Right? Now, at how many points is this curve cutting my x-axis? 2, 1. I didn't put x-axis here. Axis. I should write the word axis up here too. Right? X-axis. Up here was my y-axis. Right? Right, 2. So these here will be called my what? These 2 points will be called my x-intercepts, right? X, because it cut to the x-axis, right? I'll give you all a chance to write it. So arrow, arrow, these are my x-intercepts. Right? In your head must feel like you're going to blow up. This is the big league here, no, dog? A lot of schools not doing these things right now, you know. This is the y-intercept. The y-intercept is the value of what? You could remember. I just said it above there. My y-intercept is the value of? Nobody remember, right? I just said. Somebody said that here. C. Very good. Right? So your y-intercept, which is C. Right? It's C. So if this curve cutting your y-axis is the value of C, right? Note, right on the side of the drawing. Hey, what going on with you? You done draw down top there already? Use flash, my bro. Note, when A is less than 0, the curve is a minimum. No, maximum, sorry. Maximum. The data C was following. Somebody else gone by. Danny, what going on with all the internet by? Maximum. This is new stuff here, Samaya?
Yes, sir.
Right, maximum and minimum curves. Lock in. Where am I? Lock in, am I? Taylor, lock in, eh? Taylor, who come in to save you, boy?
Myself, sir.
I had to keep reminding all you know. The sooner I can understand that, the sooner you get serious about this what going on here. Everybody have the top and the bottom?
I'm missing the bottom, so yeah.
Right, I just went up a little bit. Right, I need to jump. I need to jump into these questions. I had to tell you what the... Alright, I have 2 more notes to do, boy. I'll tell you all what the axis of symmetry is given by, and something else, boy.
So go back up a bit. Writing on the note.
That's fine. That's fine. Right, the minimum or maximum value. Right, I'll give all of them 2 things. Right, you're writing the note. I could start right on it there. Wait time. Good boy. Time going crazy right now. I want to at least show you all one. Because it's done 12:30. And these questions are long. So all you're already doing section 2 questions. They're not form 3s. There's some form 3s in here. You're already doing section 2 questions here. Right? So if you can understand this, you're very well on your way to glory. Right? Let me go. I have 2 notes all here. The axis of symmetry or sometimes they say the value of x. I'll put the axis of symmetry. Put in our word here for me is the equation. Let's put in our word for me. The equation of the axis of symmetry. The equation of the axis of symmetry, or sometimes they ask you for the value of x for which the curve is a maximum or minimum value for which the curve, spell curve wrong. Ferguson, there's too much here, you understanding? Ferguson.
Oh, yes, sir.
So may I be excused really quick?
Yeah, go ahead. Ferguson, there's too much I understanding so far.
Kinda, yeah, understanding so far.
All right, cool. All right, is given the equation of the axis of symmetry or the value of x to which the curve is a maximum or minimum. Put minimum value here, that's fine, guys. I get distracted. Yeah, message coming here that distracted. All right, a maximum minimum is given by x is equal to negative h. Right, so basically I have to calculate h, x is equal to negative h, right? And then the maximum or minimum value of the quadratic function is k. Whatever k is, that is your maximum or minimum value. What's that going mad here, boy? Right. So more than likely, we might just have time to do one because we might have to use the quadratic function down here. Right. Everybody ready to function? All I listen up and hold on, lock in. Everybody that side gets sleepy because it's a 3-hour class. I wonder if this 3 hours is too much for you. Let's see why teachers just do when they do lessons, they do more than 2 hours. Because this class is initially 2 hours, but I say I'll do extra hour for you all for vacation. But this is part of the reasons why we don't do 3 hours. 3 hours has been too much sometimes. So I might probably have to reconsider it 2 hours. 3 hours, I'll probably do 2.5 hours. Because I've seen some all done start to lose it. Right? But we'll still leave it at 3 hours. You know why? Because I just give all that 10-15 minutes before we start at the beginning. So we'll still leave it at 3. At least we get in a solid 2.5 hours. I could probably let it go 12:45. Right? So let me do one question. You will try the rest of homework. Okay? So lock in. Express the quadratic f of x, which is equal to 3x squared plus 6x minus 2 in the form a, open brackets, x plus h squared plus k, where a, h, and k are constants. Right? Let me ask some questions. What is the quadratic function here? Anybody? Online too. What is the quadratic function from this question I just read here? It is given by what? The quadratic function. What's the quadratic function here? Anybody?
3x squared plus 6x subtract 2.
Proper thing by Eden by. F of x is equal to 3x squared plus 6x minus 2. This is my quadratic function. I told you on the very first line, a quadratic function is of the form ax squared plus bx plus c. You all seen that this is of that form? You all seen it? Right, let's work. Let's state the obvious for these things here, right? What is the value of a? If it's ax squared, what do you think a would be? 3. Excellent. Right? Plus bx, what do you think b will be equal to? Well, the lock in here, no? This is not hard, no? It's just you had a lock in. Mohammed, you with me? And c. What would be the value of c? Not 2. -2. Excellent. Hey, what's that? This maths is not hard enough, boy. Look, this is the shippiness you just had to figure out here. This is the first part you had to figure out. What is A, what is B, what is C? Right. Now, to complete this square, go to the completing the square formula. To complete this square means to write your quadratic in what form? Check it in your book there. A, open brackets, squared plus... Wait, we aren't ready for that yet. To write a quadratic, well, to complete this square for a quadratic function, it means to write that quadratic in the form, look at right here, a, open brackets, x squared plus h, close bracket squared plus k. You all see that? Yes, sir. Plain as D, right? I give all the two formulas that you would have to memorize. CSEC does not give you these formulas. What is the formula for h? It broad as D. B over 2A. The question is a substitution question. What is K? And so look at substituting A, B, and C and find these values by dog food. Let's call this, brother. Let's call this dog food, right? It's a simple substitution question. So let me substitute it now. What is B? Come on, real time. Let's go. What's B? 6 divided by 2 multiplied by... Look at this now. And it look hard when I write all them notes above it. It look hard. And it didn't pay?
Yes, sir, but like realistically, it real cake.
It's substitution. Look, I started algebra with our class tomorrow. Let me show you something, right? What's the first thing I teaching these children tomorrow? What's the first thing I teaching them? Watch. What's the first thing? Substitution. You have a value for A, B, and C, and you have to plug it in here. You have a value for A, B, and C. This is why I'm going to teach children tomorrow in our class, right? I already had the class plan here. Watch. Substitution. Now the first thing is doing algebra, and watch. That's what we're doing in a hard section 2 question here. Substitution. Watch. You have A, you have B, you have C, you have substitute. So let me go 4 by what? By minus, what is B? 6 squared all over 4 multiplied by 3, right? So let's work. Somebody give me H, somebody give me K. So here I'm doing, work out the whole top, press equal, and then divided by 12 for K. For H, it will be 6 divided by, look, 6 divided by 6 is what? 1. Right? So H is 1. Substitution. You just had to know what to do, right, Megan? Megan, you good there? Substitution, sister. Now, it have a next way to teach this. Completing a square is a little more difficult and harder for children to catch. But I don't even go to that way because it often confuses children. Right? So we just work in the formulas for H and K. Somebody give me the answer for H now. We bigger than having to write what you get for the top and then what you get for the bottom and then divide them. What you get there, Tyler? -5. Final answer, somebody second -5. Make sure you get it. Samaya, where you calculator? Get it, someone, please.
Yes, sir.
Look on the top, sister. Use your brackets. Use your. You get? Huh? Right. -5. I'm on the back. Get it. Who else get? Danny, you get?
Yes, I got you, brother.
Make sure you get it. You know to get the squared, you have to press the x squared now. Right? And let's divide by 12 because 4 3s are 12. I just want to make sure everybody get it. You all get it? Jonathan. To get -2, you have to press the plus or minus knob, right? And then to get minus, you have to press minus. That's why you have to know the difference between -2 and then when you have to -6. -2, you're pressing the plus or minus knob to get a negative. And then when it's -6 squared, you have to press the minus knob. -6 squared, then press equal. And then whatever you get there now, you divide by 12. And you're supposed to get -5. So you're supposed to get -60 on top. Make sure you get it, Alex. Right, everybody good there? Scrolling down. Right, sorry about that. Trying to work out something there. Right, hence or otherwise state the minimum value of the quadratic. The quadratic being f of x is equal to 3x squared plus 6x minus 2. I gave you all a note on what the minimum or maximum value is given by. It's a minimum value. Let's put min value. The minimum value is the value of, find it in your notes. The minimum value is the value of, Rishana, the minimum value is the value of, gotta be able to locate these things, eh? No, check again. The minimum value for a quadratic function is given by no, the minimum value. I sure I give all of that note. Look, I hear somebody say K. What is K?
Yes, K.
Yes, K. What's K? Huh? What is K?
K is
Just
negative
K.
5.
In CXC, again, a whole mark just to write down there. No? This is a CXC question, by the way. Eh? A whole mark just to write down -5. To remember that the minimum value of a quadratic function, the minimum or maximum value, is given by K. Everybody got there? That's all. That's all for that. State the equation of the axis of symmetry of the function, right? I give you all a note on that too. The equation of the axis of symmetry, or the value of x for which the quadratic function is a maximum or minimum. What is it?
So it's minus h.
X is equal to minus h, right? So
yeah.
X will be equal to, what is h?
H is 1. So it'll be -1 there.
Hold on, understand what time it is here, boy? July, June, May, April. Right, hold on, understand what's going on here, boy? Look, 2 marks all get in the bag. Just remember what axis of symmetry is and to remember what minimum value or maximum value is for a quadratic function. Right? Right. So we have some bad boys here now again. Sketch the graph of y. Now, when they put y, a point to note, right? I'm going to put it right here. Y is f of x, right? So you could put f of x or you can put y. F of x is y is f of x, right? So the mere fact that they put y here simply means it's like f of x is equal to 3x squared plus 6x minus 2, right? Everybody good there? F of x is y. So they just ask us sketch on a graph of y is equal to the same quadratic function that we just wrote above, showing on your sketch the y-intercept. Who can remind me what y-intercept is given by? C. Excellent. So your y-intercept is C. What's C? -2. Remember, this is A, B, and C. Right? Hill, lock in. Right? You good here, Hill, or you lost? You're good? All right. Y-intercept is equal to -2. Right? We just do this one all, and then you will try this one for homework, right? I can give you all these here to do for homework. A little tax on the brain. We'll do up to 6. Right? Right, there you go. So on the graph, we're going to sketch, right? Coordinates of the minimum point. What did I tell you? All the coordinates of the minimum point are given by -h, comma, right? All this in the note I gave you all above. So -h would be what? Negative, comma, what is -k? I'm sorry, what's k? -5, right? So these are the 2 things we go and show on our sketch. So something to note about when the question tells you to sketch. A sketch is a freehand drawing. So remember, make some 2 graphs above with a U and an N. You're drawing it just like that, right? I have a U and an N above, which is a maximum curve and a minimum curve. Right? So we're gonna do it, right? Only 2 things you're showing, eh? So I put in y-axis. Everybody good there? Freehand, Daryl? So you put y-axis. So you don't even bump to use a ruler actually, but you should, eh? You should use a ruler. Right. So you have your y-axis, and then we have our x-axis. Everybody good there? So only two things we showed on this graph. We showing the y-intercept, which is C. We showing where C is. C is -2. And then we showing negative h comma k, right? Which is -1 comma -5, right? These are the only two things you show. Now on your x and y axis, right? Okay, in the middle here will be what? 0. For those who never saw it before, in the middle here is 0. So it's like the x-axis is a number line and the y-axis is a number line, right? So let's locate C, which is -2 first of all. Now remember, this is y, eh? This is your y-intercept. I put C is equal to that. We should probably put y. Y-intercept. Y-intercept. Right? Now, if you're looking at the y-axis, right? Negative will be above or below? Below. Excellent. So yeah, that's gauge, and there's our gauge. Right, Mohammed? -2. Okay, I put -2. That's the gauge. So you know, wherever your curve running, it is cutting through this point here. Right? Let's locate -1. Now, when you have a coordinate, your first value is your what value? The x or y? X or y? X. So this is your x value, and well, on your x-axis, and the -5 is your y value. So -1, I'm going to put this in red, right? -1 on your x-axis will be to the left or to the right. If it was a number line, where the negatives will be running to the left, right? So I'm just gauging when -1 will be. -1 will be here. And then -5 on the y-axis. You have to extend this line now, because it's -5 on the y. Right, so -5 will be somewhere quite down here. Everybody agrees? Should put this on the next side, buddy. -2. Hold on, Let me fix this. Rahim, this could get away from here real easy, eh? And I'll be lost like mad. Try to lock in. Right? -5. Right, everybody good there? -5, right? So let's plot that point. -1, you're coming down until you reach in line with -5. So that coordinate is here. This is your minimum point, right? Okay? So if it's a minimum curve, I told you before, minimum curve is a U or an N. Check in your notes. The minimum curve or the minimum point is where? U. So watch it. I come down here. Come in here. I draw that rail off way because it's supposed to cut through here. I'm going to draw that over. So y'all sketch it, you know? So you gotta know that you here, well, let me come from this side. Right? So we coming from here, boom. We going through here. You're coming down now. It's a U you're drawing. Oh, my line straightened. It's a U you're drawing, not a V. You hear me, Emery? It's a U. So you're coming down. I and all do it bad. But have to be symmetrical. Right? Try to get it as symmetrical as possible. It is a sketch. So you have to draw it freehand. How you all looking? I'm struggling right now. Right. This is about somebody mic on. Daniel, mic on. So you all see pass through -2. Now they did not ask us to show the roots, right? Okay, they did not ask us to show the roots. Now, this part here might take a little while, so I don't feel like going into it, right? Part 4. We'll do that next week, but I want to give you all some homework, right? Everybody done draw this sketch? Everybody done draw this sketch? All looking drained. All looking drained. All right, this is the first 3-hour class I'm doing for the year, guys. I'll do that, right? All right. So we're doing 2, right? But here we're doing 4 for 2 to have a part up here, which is to complete the square. Then you're doing this homework. Then you're doing find a value of x where the graph cuts right. So for this part here, you're doing these two. Homework. Right? Right. Here you can do all this. Homework. Indicating everything, because when I put here, it's supposed to be a plus. X. Right, for here, you all can do these. This is part of the homework here. You all can start a pack up, because I will send this in the group. And you all can see if your parents there. Because online, I will send it to the group, I'll send it to the group. So I hope you all enjoy your first day, right? I know this 3 hours is a lot, but we had a chance to push some work for the vacation, right? So I'll see you all next week. Same time, same place. Right, guys? Online. Take care, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Bye.
sir.
Bye, sir.
Okay, bye. Take care. I'll send all this stuff in the group, right?
Sir,